Hey, what's up guys, the Young Dragon here, and I welcome you all to my next episode of my Payday 2 Armory. For our next weapon I'll be covering up, it will be the Brazilian Taurus Judge Revolver. It's a very unique revolver, unlike the traditional revolver that shoots very powerful or low-powered cartridges. This one fires a shotgun caliber, so you can say this is a pocket-sized version or a pocket-sized shotgun. Of course, the place of origin, it says, is both Brazil and United States. But we'll get more onto the model detail later on. And the purpose for the Judge is, it's a the Taurus Judge is a 5-shot revolver designed and produced by the Taurus International Chamber for the .410 bore shot shells, or the .45 Colt cartridges, not the 45 ACP. There's a slight difference. The Taurus promotes the Judge as a self-defense tool against carjacking and for home protection, which pretty much any shotgun is pretty much used for home protection for anything, but I think the Judge, it's a much more concealed weapon thanks to its size, and well, we'll get a little bit more detail. As for the cartridge itself, of the .410 bore is actually one of the smallest caliber of shotgun shells commonly available. And of course the shotgun bore, it was actually started off in the UK as a garden gun along with the .360, but yeah, basically the UK has made a very small pistol caliber, and it's not very powerful like a 12 gauge. But despite in Payday 2, it's a high damage revolver, so let's actually get to the stats. So we have a stat of magazine 5, 12 ammo 35, rate of fire of 500 RPM, damage of 155, accuracy of 52, stability of 28, concealment of 29, threat of 28, and a reload time of 2.3 seconds. So it is definitely a high damage and a high rate of fire revolver, and this also makes it has a instant to melt time to kill with this weapon. Thanks to the rate of fire and damage alone, this is probably by far the most DPS shotgun you can give. Well, if you have it with Swan Song or Bulletstorm, any shotgun that has 155 damage and 500 rate of fire will have basically the same time to kill, but without those two skills, the Judge is definitely a clear winner, because it has 5 shots as opposed to usually 2. Alright, so here's what this looks like. It's pretty beautiful. It definitely would confuse a lot of people of look like a normal revolver, but as we look at the shape, it's clearly not. And of course, it's a more compact version, because the original Taurus Judge had a much longer barrel, and the pistol grip wasn't that very rounded. It had more of a square shape with a little red rubber in it, kind of like the Taurus Bull or the Bronco revolver. So let's actually get into more of the detail. So as we look at the left side, now I didn't really explain any revolver much in these builds. This is the first one I'm going to be covering up. Of course, we have our little, looking close to the barrel, we have our little nice little push button to, of course, to eject the cartridge, in order to, reload the revolver, you have to press this, basically this button on the side of the back of the rear of the cylinder to open the crank and get the cylinder out. And you press this button here, way in the front, to eject all the cartridge out, and then reload it normally, either shell by shell or by a speed reloader, and then you put it back into place. Most of the time, people would use to basically kind of snap the cylinder back into the gun. It is not recommended to do it because you may end up damaging the crank. But if you are in a heated moment, or basically something going on and you need to do something real quick, snapping could help, as it could make a huge difference in a life or death scenario, and sometimes it kind of looks pretty cool. Now we see a word at the bottom. Looks like it says pat pending, and then we have a little look at the back. We can see more of the pistol grip, and I do have to say, this is a very, very thick pistol grip that I ever seen one. I feel like the size of my palm of my hand would only cover like half of it, like on one side, and the other one had to cover the other. Of course, we do have our hammer right in the middle, so this is a double action revolver. You can actually see the shells, and you can see the little primer inside, just a little bit in between. And then we go to the right side, we got a lot more readings this time. So as I read the bottom, it says Miami, Florida, so this is where the weapon is probably either was made or made some modification design. It has a serial number, and at the bottom it does say made in Brazil. And of course it has the word "The Judge" right printed on the barrel. And you can see the caliber it fires. Of course, the .45 LC or / the .410 bore. Well, GA stands for gauge, or 10 gauge. And at the top, it reads Public Defender Poly. So basically, 80% of its design on the Judge is made of polymer, and the only thing that's basically kind of steel and stamp sheet is basically the cylinder, a bit of lower receiver, the crank, the button to release the cartridge, the trigger, and the hammer itself are the only thing that are made of steel. And as for the iron sights, it's kind of a little bit cool. It has a nice little night sight to it. And you can see it's nice and red. Now there is a different option to change the weapon's iron sight to a more of a blue sight. Sadly though, the console version doesn't have that type of judge, only on PC, but the blue night sights that the PC has does glow, which is actually kind of cool. So let's see the attachment you could put on the Judge. Now sadly there's no unique attachment to the Judge, so most of these are just kind of run of the mill for typical shotguns. You have different type of ammunition you can use, type of barrel extensions, any type of boost, and yes, it does come with the -4 accuracy boost, just like every other shotgun. Any type of gadget, and you can actually put on a sight. Hell, even an ACOG sight, which looks like the exact same size as the Judge, or just even larger than it. It's just ridiculous. Funny thing to note too, it does come with its own little accessory rail, but this is the exact same scope mount that you see on the Bronco and the Desert Eagle when you have to find the courier packages for them respectively. Recorded some breeding. It says toucan rail adapter for small arms only, made in USA. So only about 3 weapons can accept the scope mount. Of course, that's being the Judge, the Desert Eagle, and the Taurus Bull. Let me just get that off. And here's another cool thing when it comes applying to a gadget on the Revolver. When you place it, you get this nice little accessory for your revolver. Now let me just back that out and actually show you my fully decked out version, which does have it, or at least one version of it. So I'm just going to show off my stealth version because it does have a... So we see there's more words. It's called rail adapter. It has that serial number, and it does have, of course, the word 2014. This is where the weapon was introduced in August 7, 2014. And there's their pat pen. But as we go to the right side, we can clearly see. Okay, this is not my stealth version. I'm wrong. This is just like my fully decked out version. But you can definitely see it says "Made in Brazil" with its country flag. I honestly think it's a nice touch to it because it looked like it was made for it. So it's look pretty nice. Not very often you see a weapon made by their native country have their own flag into it. And of course I have the Kimbo version as well, which are similar to the Judge here, except for, well, the stability is completely crap. The magazine's 10, so you got doubled. The reload time, though, is much more slower since you have 2 of them as opposed to 1. So I did show you my fully decked out version. I have so many versions of the Judge, which is really, really crazy. So here's, well, my suppress HE round Judge. And then I have my stealth version, which looks the same, just a different caliber. And last but not least, my concealed Dragon's Breath rounds. Yes, I have so many freaking Judge, it's unbelievable. And as for the Kimbo Judge, well, I think I only just have one variant for now. I know there was another popular one out there. If I could just find it. Okay, it's like here. Normal one. But another popular way that people use the Kimbo Judges is paired with the HE round and just have Swan Song or Bulletstorm Ace. And they just go ham on these things. And God, every time I hear them firing, it's almost like I'm playing the maracas. You know, the instrument that actually shakes up a lot of like little beans or balls inside, like a rattlesnake. That's what they remind me of, those. Just more lethal and very explodey. Oh, okay, that's enough of the introduction. Let's test these bad boys out at the firing range. I'll see you in a second. Alright, here we are at the firing range, well, of the old safe house. And funny enough, during the Ukraine prisoner heist update, Overkill has actually decided to remove the old safe house on PC. So the only way you access the old safe house is you're playing on the console version. And it's kind of sad too because, well, Even though it doesn't serve much of a purpose anymore. It's just kind of a waste to remove it, especially if you put all these graffitis all over the place, over the walls, the alleys. It's a damn shame. But how often do people are gonna explore the old safe house? I guess the only ever chance you do play the old safe house in PC would be the safe house nightmare. Alright, not talk about that. Let's actually get this thing loaded and see how much damage it can do. Like I said, don't try to snap the cylinder in place. It will definitely damage. Wow, that's a new thing. Damage the crank. Alright, here we go. It's gonna be a bang. Not bad for a spread. Damn, this thing sounds like a hitting semi-truck. You can feel the power with this revolver, which is crazy. And yes, I'm setting on this line because, well, it's a shotgun. I want to see how devastating it is in close quarters. And, well, now I gotta work my way over here, and, well, of course, just like now for test 2, I will just line up my iron sight right here, and I'll try to shoot as fast as I can and see how the recoil profile goes. Sometimes I might take another try because the recoil can be unpredictable in this game. Alright, going hot. You can definitely see by the results, this has some strong vertical recoil. Every time you shoot your gun up and you shoot it again, it goes up, so it does not give you enough time to recenter your screen. And your center speed is kind of a bit messed up. So I'll just do it again. So yeah, it does have very strong vertical recoil. It definitely goes up. It won't bounce in either way. Just in case I'm out of ammunition, let me just grab some more. Alright, now for, well, test 3. This time I'm gonna try to control the recoil this time, while I'm still firing pretty quickly. Alright, here goes. Okay, that wasn't too bad. I think I was able to handle the first 3 shots, but after the 4th and 5th, it was pretty challenging enough. I'm pretty sure you can do it better with a mouse and keyboard. So let me try this again. Well, that's the best result I can give. It's definitely very controllable. Since it has such predictable recoil, you can actually master the position and the timing with the revolver, and having a much better pattern. And for stability that it has, it's still pretty controllable. It's definitely, I was expecting to get a lot more kick out of this, but it was actually pretty manageable. Okay, now I'm gonna go here and see the, well, we see how powerful one judge is. Now we're gonna have 2 judges. And also, of course, I do not recommend trying to arm these powerful hand cannons or any other, as a matter of fact, because trying to fire these weapons that has high kick, it would definitely snap your wrist, and not in a good way. You've been warned. Not bad. kind of expect just like the solo versions. It's a damn shame that we can't see the full reload animation for the Kimbo judges. Alright, so here we go. We got... I'll try to aim on the center the best I can. It sucks it doesn't have the Killing Floor 2 akimbo mechanics where you can actually use... You can able to aim one of the gun's iron sights and you can fire like that. Damn shame they didn't include it. Alright, going hot. Okay, I have definitely did not try to control it. It's actually a lot different. Even with a zero stability that it has shown up in the weapon stat, it's actually more controllable than the solo versions. So let's actually try this again. Well, not the best I could do. Of course, if I would have Swan Song, it would be even faster. And no, I don't have Bullystone Ace with this because I want to show you. Try to be very, well, I guess a little bit more realistic and accurate as a little bit as possible. Alright, this time I'm gonna try to control the recoil this time as I'm firing the hammer. Okay, I feel like trying to control it just makes it even worse. It's just one of those guns that you don't really need to control the recoil, so I'm just gonna do it again and showing you you don't really need to control it with the right analog stick or a mouse. Depends on the version you're playing on or the controller you're playing with. You see, it's pretty straightforward. There's a little bit of vertical recoil, and when you compare it to the solo versions, yeah, they just go up. You can see that's a mild difference between the two. But bear in mind that the Kimbo versions may have a worse ammo pickup than the solo versions. Alright, now I'll show you my fully decked out judge. I'll see you in a second. Alright, here we are. Got my fully decked out judge. Notice I don't have a sight with it because, well, I find the iron sight is much more clear than a red dot sight. Plus, even the default iron sights are a lot, well, definitely a lot cooler, and I do miss these. So let's see how this thing goes. Feels similar spread. I don't know, it looks like similar to the base version, but I think it's just less of a kick. Well, because I paired it with a lot of stability. Alright, let me try this again, and this time I'll see how fast I can go, dumping my 5 rounds. Going hot. Okay, with all these attachments, it's literally the same profile. I just don't see much of the difference. Maybe if you had like certain skills with it as well, in terms of increasing stability, it might make a difference. But that doesn't mean I'll test out test free, and that's me trying to control the recoil this time. Alright, here goes. Okay, that actually makes a huge difference when trying to control the recoil. So having attachment does actually make some difference. Where before, with the base version, after the third shot, I usually hit the ground quite low when trying to control the recoil on the judge. But this time, with the attachments, it actually improved my controllability. And it's a huge deal. So I'm gonna do it again. And can see I'm not joking. And wow, that's even a better results. I clearly able to dump all 5 of my rounds very fast, right in the center of a very nice grouping for a shotgun. Not bad for a weapon that kicks like a mule. Alright, now let's see what we can do with the 2 Kimbo versions. Bear in mind I have the King's Crown compensator on these, while the solo versions, I have the Shark Teeth nozzle. Don't question why I have 2 different compensators. But you just get more King Crown's compensator than Shark Teeth nozzles. Alright, see how this thing goes. Not bad. Okay, they look way better than my third test when controlling the my decked out judge. But of course I'll do test 2 again. So let's see how this thing goes. Going hot, twice the firepower. You can tell by the result it is a lot better. I'll just grab some ammo just in case I gotta be low. Alright. Alright, here we go. Now I'm gonna try to control these recoil. Hopefully it goes a lot better. Of course, my grouping did hit a little bit low, but that's because I did lower my analog stick a little bit down, since the recoil, when it kicks up, it's not as strong compared to the base version. Of course, having all these extra attachments that increase stability makes it worthwhile for these things. Of course, usually this is where I would conclude my weapon, but it's not over yet. I want to include one more weapon, and of course that is basically a silenced judge. Regardless for a loud scenario or stealth scenario, I'll show you what the silent killer suppressor looks like on this bad boy. I'll bring it out in a second. Alright, here we are with our suppressed judge. And you can tell I have the silent killer suppressor, and by just aiming down the sight, the suppressor basically blocks my view. Now, I think there's of course a mod on PC where you can actually just shrink the barrel down. But other than that, it does, I've pretty much got used to it by now. Plus, you don't really need to aim much of a general direction with a shotgun, and most of the time, having a laser sight is already accurate enough, especially if you need to fire at a guard to ragdoll its corpse out of harm's way of others' guard sights. So let's see how this thing sounds. Yeah, that's not really a quiet gun. So let's see. I'll just step a little bit back and show you how very little bit of noise you make with this weapon. Don't mind the spread, of course. The further you're away, the less accurate you are with a shotgun. But the only noise you're basically hearing out of the gun is mostly the action itself. Basically, the hammer the prime keep hitting the revolver. That's like the only thing you're hearing. You do hear the suppressed shot, but it's just weird, and I don't know. I don't think it's possible to be able to fit a suppressor on a revolver just because of how loud these things are. I don't know. I mean, if they are, I would probably check them out. I mean, there is a possibility to have a suppressor on a revolver, but for a shotgun like this, I highly doubt that's actually a thing. But it is. That's actually quite incredible. Without speaking of incredible, now it's time for me to actually give you my summary on, or my conclusion to the Taurus judge. I will see you back at the menu. Overall, the Taurus judge is not only the best shotgun in Payday 2, not only the best community weapon, but it's also the most versatile weapon in Payday 2. Nothing comes close to it. It is best fitted to any build you have. Armor, dodge, crits, stealth, or even the backup weapon that you don't even use much shotgun skills with it. It is so good because of its damage, rate of fire, concealment, quick reload speed, and does have a very popular reputation too. And has both solo and akimbo versions, and thanks to having the different accessibility of different shotgun rounds, it makes the judge even more lethal with triple buck, HE rounds, Dragon's Breath rounds. It's just such a monster weapon on its own, and I don't think any weapon come close to it. Not even the shotgun category, and not even the grenade launchers as well. But of course, a lot of good things does come at a small end and a price to pay, especially if you're playing on the PC version, where it does get updates, and well, they did nerf quite a bit with the HE round and Dragon's Breath rounds during the optimal range update, where they lower the effectiveness of the judge. But still, it is still a very powerful weapon that's never underestimated. It is so good that I run this quite a lot on my stealth build, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people do, because it's so simple, it's so small, high rate of fire, high damage. It can make follow-up shots even quickly, even better. Useful to deal with murky guards, bikers, cartels. And it's also, with HE rounds, you can be able to shred the shields, the dozer's armor, the SWAT turret, and even Swan Song, like Captain Winters, especially if you have the akimbo versions for those weapons. And hell, I think it's also hilarious to see you go in Swan Song, you fire up the akimbo judges with HE rounds, and you basically firing at the bulldozer's feet, and they just get launched into the air. It's so funny, but once you pull it off, it's so satisfying and hilarious to see. But yeah, that's gotta be it of my talk to the judge. And thank you for watching, everyone. Until next time, farewell and have a wonderful day, everyone. And if you actually enjoyed these types of videos, make sure you give a nice like, a comment, and subscribe to see more juicy content. Have a good day, everyone.